you don't have to. You don't have to unmute if you have if you cannot talk. Just feel free to drop a message in the chat. Have you signed up with us? Have you joined us, or you're waiting to join us, or you're waiting for tonight's induction before you join us? So exactly, let us know. Okay, still thinking because I'm busy until February. Okay, okay. So you're busy till February, and you're still thinking whether to join us or not. Right. Just before the training starts, Revati, I appreciate you opening up to us and you um, still being with us, actually, even though you haven't joined us, still having interest in the IT world and trying to actually trust us to get you where we promised to get you to. But like we've always said so many times, even if you're still thinking, you can still go with a weekly option and at least your spot is secured, So instead of, because we don't know by February what sort of prices we're going to be charging this course, or it might even be totally full because we have a certain amount of people we can do this for. So I'd rather you maybe look into whatever option that you can afford. Sorry, can you? Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going for the weekly. Fantastic, Revati. Fantastic. So at least you can get on board, and we have you on the number of the people that we're planning to do this for. Because to be honest with you, Revati, we cannot do this for millions of people yet. Eventually we will, but not at the moment. There's a number and a limit that we can do it for. And once you're on that ladder, once you're on that bus, once you're on that journey with us, even you're going to start later, we understand that. At least you're in that bus, and we always carry you along. And whenever you're ready to start, at least it's just a matter of you starting at your own convenient time, not that you're then trying to sign up or whatnot. And you never know, maybe the room might be full by then, or the price might have been, different significantly. So we don't want any regrets or any disappointment. So that's good. That's good. You're going for the weekly. Fantastic. Fantastic, Rebati. I'm just going to call one more person and then we start tonight's meeting. So, Dolapo, have you actually signed up with us, registered with us, or you're still thinking about it? Or you're waiting for tonight's training, induction training before you make up your mind? Dolapo, please, you can just drop a chat in the chat section, please, Dolapo. So what's the current status with you as far as Amatip trying to get you your next IT job is concerned? Have you joined us, or are you still about to join us, or are you waiting for tonight's induction to finish and then join us? Please let us hear what you have to say about that, and then we will start this tonight induction training right away. Please, we're just waiting on you now, Dolapo. Let's hear what you've said. Right, I've not yet, but would join soon. Okay, so you have not joined yet, but you'll join soon. Is there anything that's holding you back from me joining now? Because like I said to Revati, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, Revati. But yeah, please bear with me. I'm still getting used to a few names in the participant group. So what's holding you up? Is it something personal? Is it financial hold up, or do you still have more questions that you want to be answered? That's right. Don't worry. Oh yeah. Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much, Revati. So Dollar, like I'm saying, what exactly is holding you up? Is it financial, or is it you're still not sure, you're still in doubt, or do we still need to answer a few more questions for you? Please let us know, and then we'll start this training right away after we know what exactly is holding you up. So please, Dolapo, one more time. Please, feel free to open to us. I'm glad for now, it's a small group where you can actually open to us. It's still within us. We're like a family now. So we should be able to try to understand each other and try to find a solution for each other. So Dolapo, exactly what is it holding you up? Is it financial, or is it you need more questions answered? Or you're still not sure whether this is for you or not? Please let us know and then we'll start. We give you please about a minute and then we start, please. So yeah, let's go. What is it, please? What is it, please? Feel free to please let us know. I'm keeping my eye on the chat. Okay, financial for now. I'm very convinced and interested about this. Interested about this. Fantastic. Okay, it's actually what I've been looking for. Right, that's good. That's good. I actually appreciate your honesty and your opening up. You know, we're all human beings. We're all brothers and sisters. When you look at it from, you know, from the big picture, when you zoom out. So for now, we do understand that you have financial issues, and we are looking forward to have you on board. But we just need you to make it quick and snappy because, like I said to Revati so many times now, because I'm repeating myself now, you know, there is going to be time where the price of this thing is going to be much more. You know, I don't know if it's going to double or triple or more, you know, so you have the opportunity to grab it as soon as you can, you know. So I'll leave it with you to find a way, even if it is weekly, that you can get started with, you know. It's something to at least get yourself onto that journey, onto that bus with us. And to be honest with you, the quicker you actually get on with us, the quicker we can take you out of the financial challenges. Because where you're talking 6 months from the sign up day, enroll day that you join us, 6 months and a bit more from then, you will be landing your first IT job that will start paying you your salary. So all these financial challenges, how much longer do you want to delay it for? You know, so that's just something I want you to just keep in the back of your mind. Thank you very much once again, Dalako, for being opening. For opening up to us, and we appreciate it. And we're looking forward to having you on board very, very soon, even if it is to start with the weekly payments. Thank you very much once again, guys. Tonight, we're about to start the induction training. Right. My name is Adam Yosese, the HR manager at Amatip IT. And tonight, our speaker is Mr. Ola Nafi. He will be taking you through the website development induction training. Tonight, you will not just learn about website development, right? I guarantee you that. You will also learn about much more. What much more? You will learn about the secret behind website development, which many people out there, they don't share with you. They won't share with you. Because the moment they share with you, they feel like they lose money. They're giving their source of wealth to other people that they think they don't deserve it. But guess what? At Amatip, we think for you even putting the effort to join this meeting tonight, you deserve to know. So why not? So for that matter, let us get you started with Mr. Olanafu. And before I get him to get started, I want every one of us to appreciate his amazing success in mastering all these secrets and all this complex world of IT. Because with great expertise and very smart thinking, he is very, very good in the game. He is not just skilled, he is dedicated and he is brilliant in keeping up with the ever-changing tech world. He has made a lot of impact on many people's career. I have said it so many times in Africa and Europe, winning lots of awards. He will talk for himself. But before that, you know, I want you to know that we're lucky to have such a dedicated person who started as a graduate with no job experience and is now a key part of Amatip IT executive team. You know what? Cheers to him, a real expert. So, Mr. Olam, with no further ado, with no more delay, and to get us started right away, as the people on the meeting at the moment are about to benefit a lot of things which they don't get outside from you. I would like you to start tonight's induction training for them, please. Thank you very much, Mr. Ola.
Thank you so much, Adam. And thank you, everybody here today. And today is another great day, a wonderful moment that you might not be able to forget again in your life. As far as today is concerned, by God's grace, your thinking will be different by the time we will end today's training section. Even if you did not choose website development, I'm very sure you will not remain the same. You will have gained a lot of exposure by the end of this training program, and probably this might be the beginning of another journey of success in your life. Okay, so having said that, let's dive into the world of web development. This training program or this internship program is basically for two major sets of people. The first set of people is the set of people that have the spirit of entrepreneurship. If you are an entrepreneur, maybe you have interest to start your own IT company one day or IT business one day, B is a great opportunity for you to have the necessary knowledge and skill that you need to be successful in the IT industry, especially if your area of specialization is related to web development. Secondly, the second set of people that this internship program is highly suitable for is those people that want to start a career in IT industry. Be it you have experience before or you don't have any experience before, as we have promised you that we will start with you from 0 to hero. Okay, so if you are in that category that you want to start your career as a web developer and you just don't want to learn, you want to gain employment, you want to get employment after your internship program, this program is perfectly for you. As you know before, if you attended our seminar before, we have guaranteed you that after the internship program, we will get you a job in any area of specialization you choose from us. Okay, having known that, let's start the journey of web development. So I'm assuming that we are all starting from beginning together. That let's assume that nobody know anything, that we did not know anything about website development before. But even if we don't know that, we all know what a website is all about. We have been using different websites for so many years now. So we're not going to telling us what a website is all about. But what we are after now is how are they creating this thing that we are calling website? How is it getting developed? And what are the golden opportunity in web development for an entrepreneur and for a career individuals? Okay, so anytime you want to start your journey as a website developer, be it for entrepreneur or for career person, three things are always a conclusion. Three things are always a make conclusion to people. And what are those three things? Which programming language do you need to choose? And which framework do you need to choose? Then which technology do you need to choose? Because in your journey, when you want to begin your journey, you need to make this three decisions. And the quality of the decision you make at this stage will determine your success as a web developer and even how fast you will go in the industry. Because any mistake at this beginning stage is like your foundation. If the foundation is wrong, definitely the building on that foundation might also collapse. Okay, so we make this one of the goals of the today class. I believe we will help you to make the right choice as far as web development is concerned. Which programming language you should choose for your web development, and which framework is better for you, and which technology will be the best for you. That's the first thing you gain tonight in today. Secondly, you will understand anyone that we choose for you. You will also understand why we decided to choose them and why those one that we choose are the best for you. As we all know that we have numerous of programming language, numerous of framework and technology that you can use for web development. So you were able to make the right choice today. And also, we take you through the process of web development. And by God's grace, before the end of this training program today, we will develop an application together. And that might be, even if you have not done anything related to web development before, if you follow the today class to the end and you're able to understand everything we discussed today, you can you will create your own first portfolio together with me tonight, as I will develop a web application for game application that all of us will see how we created it, how we develop it. You can also replicate, you can also, in fact, we are recording the session now so that if there's anyone, maybe I'm too fast, definitely I will not be fast, but you can also go through the video so that if you did not understand any aspect, you can ask questions, and you can also be watching the video later so that you can have better understanding. So if you can replicate everything I will do for you tonight, definitely that can be your first portfolio project, your first project portfolio for as a website developer. Okay, because it's a real life project and it's simple, but it's mighty. So it is a game, and the game is all about a game that can predict your mind. So we develop a game tonight that will be predicting your mind. Like you will choose a number, any number in your mind, you hide it in your mind, and we ask our game to predict it. The first time I created this application, I have to later change the code because the one I will be sharing with you tonight will be the second version of this code I'm talking about. But the first version, I decided not to share it with people again because it's scary because we tested the code for like 20 times and it has like up to 90+% of accuracy. That is predicting somebody's mind. And you know that is dangerous. People will definitely want to turn it to another thing. Like they might think maybe a spiritual something is behind it, which is just an ordinary code with some little algorithm. But in order not to make some people believe complicated on it, on that accuracy, we later change the faction, and we'll be sharing the second faction with you. We will build it from scratch together tonight. But before we go into the project, let us talk about your journey as a web developer. Okay, so if you are with me and you want to start with me tonight, can you help me to say I'm alive at the chat area so that I can know that we are all together, and let us dive into the journey. Thank you. Okay, thank you guys. I can see your response. Thank you so much. So let's start the journey. Like I have 3 questions here. As a web developer, we have many programming language that can do web development. Which programming language is the best for you to choose? We address that tonight, the framework and technology. So let's address those 3 questions first before we move on in our journey. So the first question, the programming language. Which programming language is okay for you as a web developer? Many people make mistakes at this stage. And the mistakes they normally make here always leads to their inability to make success in the field, because they will start learning different programming language because they want to become a web developer. And at the end of it, they will not able to master any of those. Maybe you start with Python framework, you move to Ruby, you move to Java, you move to PHP, you move to JavaScript, and at the end of it, you'll be wasting time on each and every one of them without mastering them. And at the end of it, you get tired of everything because you have not yet mastered or become skillful in web development. Then that might be the end. But if you choose the right programming language and you stick to it, I can bet you within the few months that we have together in our internship program, you will definitely become a master in any of the one you choose. Okay, so for anybody that will be a web developer, these 2 technology is very important, the HTML and CSS. You must know the basic. of HTML and CSS. Then for front-end development, JavaScript is also necessary. So in short, these first three are necessary for every web developer. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, they are necessary. Okay, now what about the remaining one? Most of these remaining one, they are alternative to each other. PHP can be used for backend development. Python can be used for backend development. Same thing with Ruby, Java, C#, White House in TypeScript as well, the SQL for database management. And to be a web developer, you don't need to learn all of these alternative ones. Like you want to know Python, you want to know PHP, you want to know JavaScript, you want to know Javas, you want to know C#. No, you cannot become a successful web developer like that because we all have limits. Okay, in terms of programming language, so you need to stick to these three options. And I will show you the reason in the next few minutes. But just know that out of all these leagues, these are the three options, three necessary ones that we'll be picking from this list. Then let's move to the framework. For the framework, we also have many frameworks that you can also choose from, in which you don't need to master all these frameworks to become a successful web developer. You only need to stick to a particular one and become the best in that particular one that you master. Okay, so we have React, we have Angular, we have Ruby, we have Django for based on Python plus Python, then ASP.NET, which is Caesar, using Caesar language, and it was developed by Microsoft. We have many of them like that. So, but for this program, we also choose React. And I will also show you reason why we choose React. And you can see React also based on JavaScript programming language that we have already choose here. We have JavaScript here. And that means if you have mastered JavaScript, definitely you'll be able to operate React. So we choose React for our framework. So you can see we are narrowed the complexity down a little bit. So from this section, from the framework, we choose React, which is based on JavaScript. And here we already have JavaScript already, right? Okay. So, on the technology, we choose Node.js. And if you notice, Node.js also based on JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript, you will be able to handle React, you will be able to handle Node.js for backend development. So you'll be using React for front-end development, and you'll be using Node.js for your backend development. And for database management, we'll be using MongoDB. And for the version control, we'll be using Git for version control. You can see out of numerous options, we are able to select the best option that we able to give you everything that you want to become as a web developer. And why do we choose those options? We can't just choose them for no reason. There is data that back them up as the best as far as today web development is concerned. Okay, so if you notice from the choice we make here for the backend development technology, which is Node.js, is based on JavaScript. Also, React is also leveraging JavaScript. And from the program language, we also choose JavaScript. So you will see that JavaScript is a core requirement for this journey. Okay, and that means we are able to simplify your journey. We have removed all the unwanted technology that you don't need. You might need them, but they are not compulsory for you to become a successful web developer, because you can actually do your work successfully without any problem with just those technology and the framework and the program language that we have selected now. Okay, so now let's look into why JavaScript programming language. Okay, so for those of us that have not have any previous experience as far as this field is concerned, don't worry. From no knowledge tonight, you will understand that you can actually do it. You can do it. It's not something that is difficult. It's not something that is complicated. Once you pay attention, definitely you will understand everything. And we will try our possible best to break everything down into possible way in which you can understand it. So, and you just need dedication to just practice what you learn. And very soon, you just get used to it. Before, you might not know how to drive, but you start learning how to drive and you can drive. And if you can learn how to drive, and even if you are not driving it now, if you have money and you buy a car, definitely you will learn how to drive it and you'll be driving it. And if you can drive a car, I'm very sure you can learn all these things. And why not give it a try? Why not make your life easy with easy work, easy money? Okay, so why do we choose JavaScript? JavaScript we consider it as one of the best programming language for web development for two major reasons. One, the first reason for anybody that wants to become an tech entrepreneur, like you want to start your own tech company, JavaScript can be the best for you, and you will soon see why it is the best. And also for the people that are looking for the job. But first of all, let us address the entrepreneur aspect of it. So if you're an entrepreneur and you are looking to be developing web application, different type of web application, I will be showing you different kind of web application that you can use JavaScript to develop. And the reason that is possible is that JavaScript have many frameworks that can be used for different purposes. If you want to become a mobile app developer, you can use JavaScript framework such as React Native. If you want to be web developed, you can use React, which we have selected before. And there are many other frameworks. So let's start looking into different applications that have been developed with JavaScript framework. And they are really doing good as far as today is concerned. Just a moment, okay? So if you are thinking to be developing web browsers or their extension, we have different web browsers like Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Microsoft Edge, and they also have different extensions. So if your dream is to be developing source type of application, maybe you want to be developing web application or their extension browser or their extension, you will find out that JavaScript is one of the best programming language that you should master. And you can see Google Chrome was developed with V8 JavaScript engine, which is also leveraging JavaScript programming language. Same thing with Firefox, which was developed by SpiderMonkey engine, which is also a JavaScript framework. Also, Safari, we all know Safari browser. Also, it was developed with Nitro engine, which was also a JavaScript framework. Same thing with Microsoft Edge. It was previously Cascade, now using V8, and it's also a framework based on JavaScript. Let's also move to web platform and website. There are many popular web platforms that have been built with JavaScript framework, such as Facebook. We all know Facebook today, and Facebook heavily use React, and React is also a JavaScript framework. Instagram is another big platform that use React, and React is also a JavaScript framework. WhatsApp web, we all have WhatsApp on our phone, and WhatsApp have a web version, which was also built with React, and React is also a JavaScript framework. Same thing with Netflix. If you are watching film on Netflix, Netflix is another powerful platform that leverage React framework for the front-end development, which is also a JavaScript-based framework. Same thing with Airbnb, use React for most of their front-end development, which is also leveraging JavaScript in their as for the framework is also built based on JavaScript. Same thing with Ready. Just to mention a few, these are top applications that we have all been using before, which each and every one of them have one or two parts of the application that was built with React, and React is a JavaScript framework. Also, if your interest is to be developing platform or tools, we also have many tools, many development tools that was built with a JavaScript-based framework, such as Visual Studio Code. And if you are familiar with all this coding of a team before, you will know that we have many text editors. And one of the powerful text editors that are popularly used by developers is Visual Studio Code. And the Visual Studio Code was developed by Microsoft. It was built with Electron, and Electron is another powerful framework that, from JavaScript. Okay, same thing with Atom. Atom is also a text editor. It was built by GitHub, and it's also developed with Electron framework, which is also a JavaScript framework. Same thing with Snack. It's also used in, they also built it with Electron, and Electron is also a JavaScript framework. Then if you also have interest in creating content management system, you will also find out that you will also have different JavaScript framework that you can use for content management platform. And a sample of that content management is Ghost, and we all know about Ghost, which use Node.js for their backend development, and Strapi, which is open source Node.js and CS in content management system. Then Keystone.js is also another powerful Node content management and web app framework, which is also a JavaScript framework. Then if you also have interest to be developing e-commerce platform, like Shopify, we all know Shopify today. This also heavily developed by using JavaScript framework like React and TypeScript, okay, and many other Java e-commerce platforms like that. And also, you might also have interest in developing mobile application. If you have interest in developing mobile application, you can also use JavaScript, any of the JavaScript frameworks suitable to that. And one of the JavaScript framework that is perfect, that you can effectively use for mobile application development is React Native. And one good thing about React Native is that you can use it to develop a cross-platform application, like application that can work on iOS and also work on Android system, Android. Okay. So many top applications have also been built with React Native, such as Facebook Ad Manager. It was developed with React Native, which is also a JavaScript framework. Uber Eats was also part of the Uber Eats was also built with React Native, which is also a JavaScript framework. Same thing with Discord and Skype. Most of these applications were developed with React Native, which is a JavaScript framework. And also, if you like to be developing games, you will also find out that there is also a JavaScript framework that you can also use for game development, like Vesa. Vesa is a popular game development framework. And it is a JavaScript framework. So then if you want to be developing database application, you will also find out that there are top database systems that have been developed with that have some part of JavaScript in them. An example of that is MongoDB. And MongoDB today is one of the popular database management systems. Okay. Then, if you want to be working at the back end, at the server side of web development, then you can also use JavaScript frameworks such as Node.js. Can also is a very good, powerful framework that can be used for back-end development. So you can see different way in which you can use JavaScript framework. JavaScript have many frameworks, and once you understand JavaScript, it will be very easier for you to pick up any JavaScript framework and successful within it. So you have different ways to diversify. You can diversify to any framework at any time once you have good understanding of JavaScript. Okay, so part of the project you can be working on as a JavaScript developer is desktop application, and some of these top applications that have been developed with JavaScript framework is Trello. Trello is a well-known project management system, and you can also use it for thematic application. You can check it out. It was developed with Electron. Electron is also a JavaScript framework, same thing with Notion. So you can see all these top applications that have been. So you can see almost every area of web development JavaScript have a framework that can perform best in those areas. So if you have a programming language that can perform all around like that, as far as web development or web application development is concerned, you can work at the front end when you can use you have a framework for the front end development. You have a framework for back end development. You have framework for database management. So it's a perfect programming language for web development. Okay. And also for those that have interest in getting job after this internship program, JavaScript, you will also find JavaScript to be a perfect choice for you. And why? I will not give you the reason based on my own sentimental analysis. We will visit a database like a statistic where you can see the data of which as like the best programming language as far as today, the most popular used programming language as far as today is concerned. And why it is the most popularly used? Because most of the organizations that you will be working with after your internship program, after acquire the necessary knowledge you need about the web development, most of the company you'll be working with, they are using one or two JavaScript framework. So if you are looking for a job as a web developer, JavaScript developer, definitely it is very, very easier for you to see employment compared with any other programming language because there's high demand for it. When most of the company application are based, you can see different type of application, different type of top leading platform that we have discussed that was built with one or two JavaScript framework. Definitely, if they want to employ somebody to manage any or to work with any of their platforms, they will employ somebody that understands JavaScript. And that's made JavaScript developer job have a very high demand. Okay, so let's check the data and let's see what we have. So let me refresh this page so that we can see that this is the latest update. And you can see it's a well-known statistic platform where in which you can see insight on different statistic report or that in the data analysis report and the likes. So as far as today is concerned, you can see the number one programming language used by developer across the world is JavaScript, which has 63%, HTML 52%, followed by HTML and CSS, then before Python, then SQL for database management, TypeScript, and this TypeScript set is part of kind of JavaScript itself. Then you can see how the statistics. So the number one programming language today, mostly used by organization, mostly used by companies, is JavaScript. So if they are looking for job, definitely you will see many jobs online for JavaScript developer than any other developer because there is high demand for it. Most of the companies, platform, different platforms are developed with JavaScript, one or two JavaScript framework. Okay, so you yourself, you are seeing why it is the best option for you to choose. Then now we have settled the right choice to make. It is now high time to dive into the world of JavaScript development. So let's start learning JavaScript. Let's start learning JavaScript and let's see how we can use it to create different web applications. During the internship program, like I said, we will be using, you will learn React, you will learn Node.js. Those are the two major frameworks that you learn. Then you will learn complete JavaScript. So with React, you can create any front end, any web develop, any website front end. Then you can use Node.js to create the back end. Then you will also learn MongoDB for database management. So with this internship program, you can handle a full stack development, like you can complete a complete website by yourself, interactive, like a complete platform by yourself. You can think of any project that you have interest. Maybe you have been thinking to create a platform before, and all everything that is stopping you from creating that platform is the right knowledge to create it. So you are in the right place today. All the knowledge you need to create, if you want to create the next Facebook, you have all the necessary knowledge that you need by the time you complete your internship program, because you have the front-end development knowledge, same thing with the back-end and database management. So if you combine these three major skills together, definitely you are a full stack web developer. So that gives you flexibility to choose any path to go. So you can decide to be a front-end developer if you like, if you don't want to be doing back-end. Then if you prefer back-end than front-end, you can decide to be a back-end developer. And if you think that you are capable to do both, then you can be doing both full stack development. So let's dive into the journey and let's see how it looks like. So today I will teach you 4 basic things about JavaScript, which is variable, data type, objects, and function. So once we learn those 4 basic things, we now use those 4 basic things, only these 4 basic things. We will use it to create a real-life application, which is a game application, web application. We will create that together tonight. So if you are ready to embark on the journey with me, please can you type "I'm alive" at the chat session and let's get started. While you're doing that, I will stop the screen share to share another screen. Okay, thank you guys. So let's get started. So let's create a folder. I will name the folder interns class. So that's the folder we'll be using for our project tonight. But before we get there, let's get all the necessary things that we need to let's set up our environments. The first thing you need to do when you want to start your journey as a web developer is to set up your development environment. And when you want to set up your development environment, you need two major things. The first thing is the text editor that you'll be using. Every developer needs a text editor. The second thing is the backend environment that you'll be need. So for the text editor, we have different text editor that you can choose from. We have Acton, we have Bracket, we have Visual Studio Code, and we have every system have Notepad. You can also use Notepad for text editor. So you can choose anyone. So if you go online, anyone that you decided to choose, for instance, if you decide to use Atom, you can say Atom download. Atom. So it's very strong. Atom download. So you're able to see, you're able to see the link for Atom and you're able to download this Atom. But I personally like Visual Studio Code. So and because of some extension that you have and some feature that it has. So I like Visual Studio Code. So if you search for Visual Studio Code, download, it will show you the link like this. Then you can open the link. Then you can download any particular one that's suitable to your system. If you are using Windows, this for Windows, Ubuntu, then Mac, to anyone. So for me, I'm using Windows here, so I can click on this download and it will download it to my system. But I already have it on my system, so I don't really need to download it again. But that's how to get it. Just search for Visual Studio Code, download, then it will take you to the platform where you can download it. So if you click here now, it will download it to your download directory, and it is very simple to install. You just need to double click the file and follow the instruction to install it on your system. That's the first thing you need to do, install Visual Studio Code. And if you want to choose another text editor, you can check on Atom, Bracket, and others like that. So anyone but I personally like Visual Studio Code, and many developers are also using Visual Studio Code because you have many extensions. By the time we start using it, you see many benefits of it. That's for text editor. And the second thing I will also advise you to download and install is Node. So we'll be using Node for backend development. So if you search for Node, you can see we have it at the first options here. So you can click on that and you can see you can also download it. So we have two options here, the 20 version and 21 version, but this is stable at the moment. So you can download the recommended one because it's stable. The latest one is not stable at the moment. So it might be giving you some issue. So it's better you go with the recommended one. Same thing, if you click on it, it will download it to your system. And if you check your download directory, you will be able to see the file. And if you double click on it, you're able to install it. The installation is also simple, but if you have any difficulty in installing it, by the time we start the internship program, we do all those things together. But those are the two basic things that you need. And once you do that, then you can start working on your project. So for instance, once you have installed Visual Studio Code, I can search for my Visual Studio Code, use it, and open it. So basically, I have some projects here before. Let me close that. What can I show? So you can see that I've created a file here before. You see that you have different options. You can create the file like this, just like this on the dashboard. And you can also create it from the Visual Studio Code, anyone that is convenient for you. But different others, one, they are minor things that you can make decision on by yourself. So I just want to access that file. So don't mind this method. This is just my, so you can use different, you can open it directly, and you can come to your timeline, your command line like this to open it. So what's the name of the file? Interns class. So don't mind all this one. I just want to open the file, interns class. You can even drag and drop it to the Visual Studio Code anyone. So that's not, all this one don't really matter. So now I can open it on Visual Studio Code by just typing code, then dot, then that will open the folder for me. That's the folder I just created. Yeah, I trust it. Yeah. So I have the, so this is the folder I created on my desktop. You can see it's empty now. So we can start working and we can start creating our web application here. So like I said, for you to have basic understanding of the application that we'll be creating together today, I will first of all teach you what these four things mean. So that these are part of the basic of JavaScript programming language. And once we learn these four basic things about programming JavaScript, we will be able to create this application. So it's only these four things that we will apply to create this application, and we will all do that together tonight. All right, so David. So now that you have your Visual Studio Code, if you look at the upper side here, you will see this is file. Whenever you want to create file, you can click this new to create file. It will ask you to type the name of the file. Then this for the second one is folder. This second one is folder. You can see new folder. So if you want to create a folder, so instead of creating the folder on the desktop, you can also create a folder here. And it's possible you might want to create some directory while you are working on your project. So that's it. And if you look here, you can see the last option here is extension. So there will be a need for many extensions during the time when by the time you are working on your project. During the internship, we will show you all the necessary extension you need to install in your Visual Code that will actually make life easy for you during your journey. Okay, so if you click on this extension, the first thing that is important to install at this moment is live server. So you type live server here, live server. So once you do that, you will see the option for live server. So this live server, and why do you need live server? So that you can preview your work as you can be seeing what you are doing. Anytime you are, for every code you are writing, you're able to be seeing the output like a preview window. So that's why you need live server. So I've already installed that. So I'm doing it. So, but if in your case, if you want to install it for the first time, you will still install it. So you just need to click on install, and it will install live server for you, and you will be able to preview your work. That's all. So with that, we can get started with today's section. Okay. Now I will start creating my files. One thing you need to know as a developer when you want to be creating files is that on this same text editor, you can see this is the same, somebody that is a Python developer, Java developer, C++ developer, C# developer, whatever developer you are, any programming language you want to write, you can write all of them on this same text editor. But what will be differentiate the type of code you are writing is their extension. That's the basic thing that will be differentiating them. For instance, I can create a file for Python and start writing Python code there. I can create a file for HTML and start writing HTML code there. I can create a file for JavaScript and start writing JavaScript there. But the only thing that will separate those two files from each other as far as this text editor is concerned is the extension. Once the extension if the extension is for JavaScript, the text editor will know that this is JavaScript file. So for JavaScript, and what do I mean by extension? Like after the name of your file, you will put maybe .js. .js is for JavaScript. That's the extension I'm referring to. .py is for Python. That is the extension I'm referring to. .css is for CSS file. .html is for HTML file. So different programming language have their extension. So for us tonight, we learn some few basic things about HTML, few basic things about the CSS, and few basic things about JavaScript, so that we'll be able to combine all those few basic things that we learn to create a real life project together today. And probably you can use that as your first portfolio if you are just starting in this journey with us. Okay, so let me create my HTML file. So I can call this index. I can call it any name actually, but index is just like a conventional naming for your first file, like the home that stand like home page. You know, every website have home page. So in most of the developer use index to represent their home page. So index is just a conventional. You can name it anything. For instance, we can even name our own game app. Game, can call it game because we want to develop game. .html. So this .html has signified that it is an HTML file. You can see the symbol of HTML here. So I have created that file. Also, I can create another file for the JavaScript. So I can share game, that same name, but different file. Now just JS, you can see it is the same name, but different extension, which have differentiated that they are different file and they are different language. So .js is for JavaScript, okay? And let me also create for CSS. So if, let's say game, the same name, but the extension is different now, which stands for CSS. So .css is now the CSS for that same. So all these three, they are three different files. And you can even see the icon for CSS, icon for HTML, and icon for game. So let's start with HTML. By the time you got into the internship proper, you will learn more about the HTML, more about the CSS, more about JavaScript, but let's just touch them basic for now. For the HTML have a structure like a skeleton, just like human being, that every human being have a structure like a skeleton. We have head, we have body, we have leg, right? Every human being have that under normal circumstance. So most of this program language also have structure. So HTML have its own structure, and the structure start from head, body, then let me quickly show you that. So if you are using Visual Studio Code, you have many shortcuts that will make your life easier. But mostly, I normally advise the beginner to start with Notepad. And why? Because Notepad, it will not give room for auto completion. Like if you want to, you have to write everything on Notepad by yourself, and that might get you used to the code. Like continue write the code every day like that, so you get used to most of those syntax. But if you are using auto completion text editor like this, definitely by the time you leave those, by the time you stop writing code for some time, you might tend to be forgetting some code like that. So for the beginner, I only recommend Notepad, so because it will make you get used to writing code by yourself. But it's fine. It's fine. It's technology advancement, so it's nothing bad. So okay, so if for the HTML, I can just press exclamation and hit that's exclamation, right? So I can just hit enter, and it will give me the basic structure of HTML file. And if you look at this file, the first thing you see is a doc type. That's the normal doc type that is declaring that it's an HTML. The document type is HTML. Then HTML have its own container. You can see HTML, it's open, the open tag and close tag. So in most program language, we have open tag and close tag. It's like when you are building a house. So you will fence the building around. So, and one of the basic illustration I always give to people for better understanding about what web development is all about is that anytime you are doing web development, always put building construction aside, like you see, visualize the building construction in relation to web development. Like when you are building, we have what people are seeing outside when they are looking at your building from the outside is the front end, while the inner part of the building is, we can refer to it as your back end, something like that. Then you build your building on a particular land. We can also refer to that as your domain, the domain in which where you host your website or the server is. So there are kind of relationship in which someone can use to explain the structure of web development. But that's not where we are going tonight. When we get to the internship program, we will be discussing more about those things. Okay, so we have the head, we have the body. And this head, you can add some many things there, but as time goes on, you will know what to be adding there. So, but basically, the head contains the title of your web page. You can see this document. So like this document, now we can change it to game because we want to develop a game app. So that's the title of the application, the page we are working on. So the title, you will only have your title at the head. And now, since it's where we want to use JavaScript in this program, then we can input our JavaScript at any part of this. But different programmer or different developer have different view on where to put your JavaScript. You can put it anywhere, but it is always advisable to put it at the bottom of the body of your HTML file. But before even go to HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, so that we not make it complicated, let's first of all talk about little thing about HTML. So now in HTML, just see it like when you are writing a notebook. When you are writing on Microsoft Word, in Microsoft Word, you have heading, right? You have normal paragraph, you have subheading, you have another subheading, like something like that when you are writing things on Microsoft Word. Let's say you are creating a PDF or ebook on Microsoft Word. You have heading, you have paragraph, you have different things like that. So all those things you can also do it with HTML. So with HTML, if you want to type something as heading, you will use H. And we have different type of heading, depend on how big you want your heading to be. So we have from H1 to H6, and the biggest one is the H1. So let us know I choose H1 and I can say, welcome to Amatip IT. Come to Amatip IT. Okay. So that's H1. So, and I can preview this, the other time we have installed live server, so I can preview it, I can open with live server. So it will open that on my browser. You can see, so, and I can put it side by side so that I can be seeing everything side by side with my code. So you can see this is what I just typed. This is the first thing I do here. Okay, I also change the title to game. You can see we have game here. Then H1, which is that's the heading of my site. Welcome to Amatip IT. So if you can also practice that means you have started your journey as a web developer. So that's H1. So, and I also have another thing to write under that heading. The next thing that will follow my notes need to be big, like welcome to Amatip. So I can use maybe H2 or H3. You can decide to use anyone. So let's use H3, depend on how big you want it to be. We can now say the future the future of technology. The future of tech. So you can see that the size of the of this one is small compared with the first one because we use H3. So that's for heading, and possibly maybe you want to write a long something like paragraph. So the syntax for that is just P. So we'll be going in details on in those things, but I just to move fast so that we can complete the application that we want to develop together. And I don't want to take much of your time, but you will we will start over everything and take each of these programming language one after the other so that you master each of them before we start combining them together. But for tonight, you don't need to understand everything. Just know how it goes so that you will not feel threatened at the beginning like this. So paragraph, maybe you have some text you want to put. We can just go online and copy some text from somewhere, anywhere. So let's assume we copy this text. Let me copy this text here. And let me put it inside let me go back to my page and let me put it. So anything that is paragraph, you just put it. That P represents paragraph. So that's you can see this first one is the open tag, while this second one is the close tag. And difference between them is this forward slash that you are seeing here. But we'll be going in detail to all of them later. So if I save now, you can see that I have the text here now. So I have heading 1, heading 2, then the paragraph, the messages. So that's the fourth thing. Do that the basic fourth thing you might need to know as far as HTML is concerned. That also, for instance, also I want to have a button here now. So for instance, maybe somebody needs to fill some form or they need to submit something. So I can just say, if I want to use button, I'll just type button. And you can see button, and I will give the name button a name. Probably I can say submit. So that's the name of the button. And if I save now, you see the button, you can see submit button now. So that's how to use HTML. And let's stop with that for HTML tonight. By the time you get to the internship program, you will understand the HTML in detail. But for the application we want to develop tonight, these only few things that we need from HTML. And I want to believe that you understand this little thing about the HTML for now. Okay, so now let's move to JavaScript. This is just HTML. We have not done anything with JavaScript, but we want to move to JavaScript now. Like, let us touch a little about it so that we can combine all of them together to create tonight's application. Now, if you want to use JavaScript here, why do we even need JavaScript? The reason being that you can see this web page that we created, this web page that we just created is not interactive. If I click the button, nothing is happening. The text we are just seeing, we cannot interact with that page. That page is not interactive. And that's the disadvantage of HTML. It's not interactive. There's nothing we can do on this page. We can only read information. But if we want to make that page to be interactive, to be dynamic, then we can now apply JavaScript on this page to carry out something. So if you want to apply JavaScript, then also another thing, you can see that it's not beautiful. The button is just something like black and white something. No beauty, no fine, nothing happened. So if you also want to beautify your page, that's when you need CSS. So those are the function. The CSS is to style your page, to make it beautiful, add color, add image, add photo, make it nice. Any website that you go that you are seeing that is looking nice, that is styling. That's CSS. That's function of CSS. And to make it interactive, that's we will use JS, which is JavaScript for that. So now to put CSS, we can put it at the bottom of the body here. And all you need to do is to have the close and open tag for scripts. So scripts, just type script and you can see. So with this, anything I write in between the script now, they are JavaScript. So all my JavaScript can be in between this script. But the problem here, for instance, now, let me type something here now. let me say, for documents. So anytime, like for HTML, you can see when we want to print to the, when we want to display something to our user interface. This is the what we call user interface, our browser, where people, the user can see the information from the code. That's our UI, user interface. So anytime you want to display something to the interface with JavaScript, you use document.write, document.write. Then you open a bracket, parentheses, then you can use in quotes, maybe single quote or double quote. Anyone you use doesn't matter. You can use double quotes, you can use single quotes. But I like single quotes because it is light. So any information I put in between that quote now, it will be displayed on my interface, like on the user interface. So for instance, I put Amatip IT website development. So if I save now, you can see Amatip website development. So this one is, I display this particular information with my JavaScript, not HTML again. And you can see I did not use H1 or whatever. So I think we need to expand this a little bit so that we can be seeing the code clearly. Okay. So that's how to display information to the user interface with JavaScript. Then you can also display information to the developer environment. That's the console. So if I right click on any page, any web page you go, you can right click on that web page and go to inspect, and to open the source code for you like this. So you can check the console. So if I want to display information, I don't want to display that information, for instance, this information, or let me just copy this Amatip website. If I don't want to display this information to the user interface, I can display it to the console. Now, if you want to display to the console, you just need to use console.log, then send parentheses, then quotes, then paste the message you want to do. So if I save now, you can see this message is at the console alone. But if we check our interface, we will not see that message. And it is very useful by the time you start developing complex application, because you might just want to test your code and you don't need to test that with the user, the main project. So you can just check the console to see what is going on with your code. So to display information to the user interface, to the browser with JavaScript, you have to use the document, write, then your message. And same thing if you want to display it to console, document, and that. But now you can see by the time I start working on big projects, you will see that I will be having many HTML code, many JavaScript code in the same file. And that might be too rough. And to avoid that, that's why you need to create a separate file for JavaScript and a separate file for HTML. Then you can now link the two files together so that they can be working together. So you can have all your HTML separately, all your JavaScript separately, and all your CSS also separately. So also to brief you about the CSS, what it look like. So for instance now, let me first of all teach you how to link CSS and JavaScript to your HTML. To link CSS to your HTML, you just need to come to the area. You can see this in the edge area here. So that's where you need to put the link to your CSS. And to link your CSS, you can just type link, and you can see link ref size. So this href, this is where you put the name of the CSS file that you want to link. So, and the name of our CSS file is game.css. So let me put that game.css. So we have the options. I can just select it. So I've linked the CSS like that. Also, if I want to remove all this JavaScript from the HTML and just create a separate file for JavaScript, so I can remove all this code from here, save. You can see we did not see that again. So if I want to link this JavaScript file to this particular HTML, I just need to put source here, source, SRC. Source is equal to then the name of the file that I want to link to, the name of the JavaScript file that I want to link to this HTML. So, and the name is game.js. Game.js, you can see the option here. That's it. So save. Now, so if I go to this game.js now, if I paste this one here and save, you can see we see this Amatip, this message, we see it again because I've linked this file with the HTML. So anything I'm doing within this file, it will be working with the HTML. So that's the three basic structure, the three basic component program that will be working together for the application. Now that we have the basic understanding of HTML, not fully basic, but at least a tip of it, we will be going in detail of each of them during the internship program. So let's just do, for the CSL, let's do a little bit there before we move back to the JavaScript. So for instance, like this button, you can see in my HTML, the button, I call it button here, right? So I can call on that select, we call it selector. We will be discussing details of them during the internship program. But for now, just know that we call it, that button, we call it selector, HTML selector. So I can call on that selector button and style it here. So I can give it padding. Padding is the space between the edge padding. Sorry. Just a quick one. I will just give only one. I will only style the button and leave the rest so that we can move on. Padding. Then the horizontal padding, I will use 10 pieces. Then the vertical axis, I will use 20 pieces. So you can see the button is changing a little bit. Then I can say color. Let's say background color. You understand all of them in detail later. Let's say red.
Sorry, Mr. Ola.
Yeah.
Mr. Samson Olusola is just typing in a chat, asking a few questions. For example, what if you want JavaScript at interval, please? Maybe in line 2 and line 5, then other programming language in between. I don't know if you want to give him the permission to ask that now or later.
Yeah, we explain that a little bit, when it's time.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
something
you.
we'll talk about it soon. Okay, so, and I can just give a color, the text color, I can make it white. So you can see the button is now getting more beautiful now. I can even say border radius, and I can give it 10 pieces. You can see the button is getting more beautiful. I can even say font size, 14. But the most important thing, you can see all this language we are saying, there are things you are familiar with before. You know what font size is before, border radius, color, background color, padding. But don't worry, you understand all of them details by the time we get into the internship program. So this just like tip of each of these three programs, the CSS, HTML, and the JavaScript. But we need to talk a little bit more about the JavaScript tonight so that we can able to build the application so that you can see the game application we want to build together tonight. Okay. So if you can still remember, I said I will teach you some basic things. Okay, we have reduced the size of the page here. We might not able. So, but let's just continue. We have reduced the size of the browser, so you might not actually see. So basically, 4 basic things that you need to first know about JavaScript: the variable, the object, array, and function. And what is variable? Variable is just something that you use to store value. We normally use variable to store value. For instance, I can say variable, and we have different type of variable. You can use
For instance, I can say far. This far mean variable, like a short form, that short form of variable far. Then after that, you need to declare the name you want to give your variable. So for instance, let's say I want to say book. So that means I want to store the value of book inside this variable, inside maybe the type, maybe I have title, book title. So I want to store the book title inside this variable called book. So the syntax is variable. The name of the variable, that means the name can be anything. You can, this instead of use book, you might use any other thing that you want to store a particular value for. So for me, I want to use book is equal to, so then I can declare maybe the title of the book. I can say I have a book here. What's the name? Any book. The rule of management. Okay, I use the rule of management. Okay, so that's the title. That's so I stored this title inside this variable name called book. So that's what variable is all about. We are using it to store value. So I can maybe later I might later need let me, well, let's still leave it. Let's go on. So I might need this book. For instance, you know, the other time I say anytime you want to display anything to the user interface, you can still remember what can we use to display information to the browser with JavaScript. If you can still remember, if you said documents, that's correct. Dot write, that it writes information to the interface. Don't worry, I will give you tips on how to remember all these things by the time we get to the internship program. Document writes. So now, instead of write this particular message, I can call on book because we can continue changing this title, but this book is already a variable, so I can say book. I can just call on this book here. If I save now, you can see it printed the title to the browser. You can see. So now if I change the title here, let's say as long as I change the title with start with Y, starts with Y. So if I change the title now, but I don't need to change the rest of the code. Maybe for one reason you need to change your inventory. It can be anything. Now we change the inventory, but we don't need to change the rest of the code, and it will work perfectly. So if I save now, you can change. You can see that it printed the new title. So that's the reason why you need to use variable to store value in JavaScript. And anytime you write a code in JavaScript, any line of code, mostly always end it with semicolon like this. So that's good practice. That's variable, and we have many variables. You can, instead of use far here, we have another type is let. So you can also say let's use another thing, maybe drink. Let drink is equal to what? Give me one name of drink. Anybody? Ginger or Coke. Okay. So if I change this one to drink now, to see that it will only print Coke. And so I can change this book to drink. If I want to display the value of that drink, you can see I store Coke inside drink, which is a variable. So if I call on drink now and save, you can see, okay, because it's supposed to be below it, so I can copy it and paste it below it and save. You can see, so we have Coke now. So, and we also have another one, const. It's also a variable, const. Let me write it up at the top of it. It's also another means of writing variable. But as time goes on, you will know the difference between all of them. The const, like you can change variable. If you use far to write your variable, you can later change that variable. For instance, if I later said, let me remove this const. For instance, if I later said drink, if I change that drink to another thing, I say drink is equal to Fanta now. So Fanta. Okay, if I save now, you can see that the drink changed to Fanta, irrespective that I've already stored it in Coke before, but now I've now redesigned, I've changed it to Fanta underneath. But before, if you use this type of variable const, you cannot change it. So those are like some little type in difference between those type of variable declaration. So if I declare my variable with const, I will not able to change it. So let's assume food const, maybe I want to store a food, and maybe my food is rice. So you can start thinking of different ways this thing can come in web development. Maybe you are creating inventory like that, something like that. So now food is rice. So like this food, this type of variable, I cannot change it. You can see I'm able to change the one I use let for, but I will not able to change the food because I use const. So that's means it's a permanent variable. So if I also change this one to food now, this string, it will print food instead of drink. It will print rice. So let's change it to food, save. So you can see it changed to rice now. So that's variable. Then we also have objects. Object, variable is we are using it to store single value, but we might want to store a value that have many things inside it. For instance, if you have a user on your platform, your user have name, it have age, address, street, different things that associate with that user. So you cannot be storing those values one after the other. You need to store all of them together, and that's the reason you need to use objects. So object can contain many properties about a particular something. So for instance, for book, I might want to have the title of the book, the author, the reference, different thing about that, the different property about that book. So if anything that have property, you can use objects for it. So how to declare object? I'll just show you one example of it. We'll be talking more about them during the instance program. So objects. So I can use any of these three methods of declaring variable, same thing to declare an object. You can declare object with var, let, or const. So let's use const to declare an object, or var, anyone that you prefer. So let's use const. So let's say object, our object is user, maybe the user of our website. Okay, it's equal to, then you will open this curly brace. You can see the curly brace. Then you can start say, okay, maybe the username. I can say username. And there's some principle here, but we'll be talking about them, like how to name the naming principle. We'll be talking about them later. Then you use column. Then the name, let's say the username. Somebody should give me name. Let's use $_ name. Okay, let's use $. So we can type $_ inside in between $, between the quotes. Then you have to end it with comma. Then maybe age, the age of $_ is maybe 30. Maybe says. You can see that $_ now is a user, but have different property. You have name, age, says. So instead of store them one by one, then we can store them with an object that is a user. So you have to separate them with comma. Says, maybe male, and you have to be inside the quotes because it's a string, male. So now you can continue listing, like list all the property that belong to that user, maybe age, street, address, different things. We all know how we normally fill form on all these websites. So all those forms you are filling, that is an object to a particular user. Okay, so but not to waste time, let's stop there and move on to how we can use this object. So now, how can we use this object? So we can print any of these properties separately. For instance, I can say document, we all know how to print now to the browser now, document rights. Then, yeah. So I can say I can print user, if it's only the name I want to print, I'll just say .name. That is, I'm calling on the property which is username. So that will print only the name of that particular user. And you can see $_ now. So let me separate the rice with it. So you can see we have dollar per year. Okay. So, and if that also is only the sex or the age of dollar per I want to print. So I can print, I can say age. So you will have been thinking about different ways you have come across all these things. Maybe you are filling a form or you request for your profile on Facebook, all these things. But by the time we go in depth of it, you understand all these things in depth. So that's example of object. You can think of different other way of creating objects. Object can be for a user, maybe a user, or a book, or for a product. Product, we have price, we have title, image, price, different things associated with it. So you can also use object to declare that. Let's move on. So we also have array. And for the array, the difference between array and normal variable is that you can use array to store different value of that belong to different things. Here, all these age, username, sets, they all belong to user. They are property to user. But for array, they are not necessarily related to be related to each other. So for instance, let's assume we declare an array const, and let's call it what can we call it? Anything. Give me any name, anybody with any name, any. Let me remove food here so that we can use food and we can list different. Okay, so I can declare food here, food as an array. So here I will be able to list different type of food, like, as the major difference, you can see the type of bracket I use here is different from the one I use for the object. You can see, so this one particular one is an array bracket. So I can now list all the, for instance, let's assume we have a store and we are selling food in our store. So I can now list all the food that we have in our store inside this food. So I can start now. You need to put all of them inside the quotes. So I can start like maybe rice. So I will be separating them with comma. Then another one, beans. Another one, and yam. The string, yam. So let's just add one more. Another one, and spaghetti. Any other one. So we have like list of 4. So one thing I will tell you here is that the first one here is 0. When you are counting something in array, you start from 0. So the first one will be 0, followed by 1, 2, 3. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3. That's what. So you'll be know more about all those things. So like this one now, this is an array. Then we can also, let's say, this document, we can write another document. Let's say documents to display the information to the browser. Hope I'm not too rushed, but I want us to finish on time just to demonstrate for you to have basic understanding of how web development work, how we can develop a complete project together. So, right. Then I can print this food now. Food. Okay. So if I want to print food like that, then I can specify the particular one I want to print. Probably I want to print 2. So the reason I select 2 there is that I want to select a particular one out of all this one. Probably maybe I want to print, if I want to print the second one, I will put 1 here. If I want to print the third one, I will put 2 there. So that is array. And you have seen the difference between array and object now. And first, let me quickly tell you different type of data we have in JavaScript. We have string, anything that we are, anything like alphabet like this, but we cannot say everything that is in alphabet, because like this food is an alphabet, but it's not a string, because we have stored a value. It's a variable. We have stored a value in it, and that value we store in it can be anything. We can store number in it. We can store alphabets in it. But all these beans rice, they are string because they are numbers. Okay. For instance, if you actually want to see that, I can come here and I can inspect the page and go to the console and say type of rice. I will not define it. Type of drink. Type of drink. I'm typing wrong type of drink. So you can see, because I'm typing right and wrong spelling before. So you have to pay attention to the spelling. So string, you can see type of drink is string now. So if I say type of age, because I don't have age separately here, it is, but if I use user, it will be string. So basically what I want to tell you is that we have string, which is alphabets. We have number, like this age is number. And we have Boolean. Boolean is true or false. If you have a condition like a conditional statement, true or false, that's Boolean. We have undefined. You can see like this one is undefined. Undefined is when you did not define the object you are called or the variable or whatever you are calling. It is not defined. Like this age is not separately defined. It's only defined under user. That's the reason you see undefined. So we have undefined, we have string, we have Boolean, which is true or false. We have number, then string is normal number. Those are the data type. And lastly, for today on the basic on JavaScript, function. So function is the most powerful basic thing that you must know, function. And what is function? Function is a set of code that we are using to perform a particular task on our application. Think of any application, web application or mobile app application that you are using. All these applications, they are working with, it is some function. You can have thousands of functions, millions of functions in your application that are performing different tasks. So all those tasks are being carried out by function. So let me just give you a simple way of writing a function in JavaScript. Are we together, please? If you are with me, can you type yes at the comment section and let's continue. Wow, that's good. So thank you, Dolapo. Thank you, Samson. Let's continue. Okay. So the function, I will show you like just few example of function, and we move straight to the, after that we move straight to the today project, your first portfolio as a web developer. So function, anytime you want to declare a function, just type the first thing, you have to type function, then followed by the name of that function. For instance, let's call the name of this function, let's call it app, or let's call it game app. Then let me use camel case. Then you'll be know more about all these things later. But for now, let's all just accept game app. That's the name. So that game app is just the name for that function. That means you can use anything there. But the most important thing, this function is constant. You cannot change it. Then this parenthesis, compulsory, then followed by curly brace. So that's the basic structure of your function. So you can now start writing different code. Whatever code that is now between that curly brace is what separates one function from another function. So a function that is open door and a function that is closing door is now depend on whatever you put in between these curly brace. So for instance, let's assume we want to, you know, when they send email to you, the email might say, I, Samson, or I, Dolapo. that high dollar call, they have thousands of people they are sending email. You know, they cannot be naming it in like send email to individual, as in to each and individual in order to put their name there to customize the email for each everybody. So definitely there is a function that is calling for that name. Same thing, you can do that. Let me close this one. We don't need it again. So you can use something like that. For instance, let's put name here. Name. So this name that we put here is a parameter, like an argument that we want to use it later. So I can now print to the interface. I can say document. I can print to the UI and dot write. By now you should have, but that's what I'm saying. By the time you are writing it, practicing every day, you guess you like this document now. You can see we have used it several times today, and I think you should not able to easily forget it again. So document write. Then now I can say welcome or hello, hello. That hello supposed to be inside string, and we will learn more. This is the right journey for you. I really like web development because making me happy. Okay, so I can say plus, then now I can say plus name. You know, I've declared the name somewhere there before. So I can say game app and declare name maybe $4. Let me use number, and let me try return. Number, documents, right? So, we are getting the result, but because we have many things here, we are getting them inside the test here. But let me clear everything that we have from inside there so that we can see all those things clearly, the outputs that we are getting. So let me clear the message we have on the HTML here. They'll clear all this one. And this one as well. Yep. So we have cleared the interface and there also. So basically that is the structure of function, but let's quickly make good use of it so that we can see how we can apply all this knowledge that we have gained tonight. We can as well start maybe to recap everything that we have discussed. We can as well name everything and start from the beginning. that let me everything we have. So we have a fresh page now, fresh HTML, CSS, fresh HTML, and fresh JavaScript. So now we have seen how to create variable objects, the array and function. Okay, so now let's combine those three things together and let's use it to create that application we are talking about, the game application. So the first thing, you can always start from HTML. And like I said, so this can be like a recap to you because everything we have been working on before, we will now put them into practice to create a real life project. So exclamation, then enter, that will give you basic structure of HTML. Basic structure of HTML, let's add heading. And somebody asked question the other time that why can we put JavaScript between? You can put JavaScript in between your HTML, but the best practice is to have separate file for JavaScript and separate file for HTML to make your code clean. And it's another good practice is to have the JavaScript at the bottom of your body here, so that you know the code run from top downward. From the first, you can see every line of code are in number. So code run from number 1 downwards, and the JavaScript might not needed at the beginning of your code. So if you put it at the beginning of the body, the code will run to the JavaScript, and if the JavaScript is not needed, it will need to run past through that JavaScript. So why not put it at the bottom of the body, so that if the JavaScript is not needed yet, the code will not run to the JavaScript. So that's one way of optimize your application. But as time goes on, you will still be understanding more about it. So this is the basic HTML structure. So the first thing we want to do here, we want to link this CSS file there, but we don't have anything inside it for now. So let's link it. To link that, we can just use link. Then the file name, then the CSS, that's all. So that's all you need to do to link this HTML with this, and this CSS with this HTML. Same thing for the JavaScript. To link it with the HTML, you just need to call on scripts. Then since we want to link the file, you can just say source. Then the file name, then the JavaScript. Okay, so you have know how to link HTML, link CSS with HTML, and link JavaScript with HTML. So now let's start writing our application. So for the body, well, let me quickly give you a brief overview of what we want to develop. If you attended the UI UX design class yesterday, we discussed about the UI design. So for instance, assume this is I just want to create a simple illustration of the game that we want to develop. So the game will have a button. So let's assume this is our button, and that button, you can add any label there. Maybe you can say guess my mind, guess my mind, or read my mind. So it's anything like that, read my mind. So the rule of this game is that you pick any number you can pick any number from 1 to 8, and you ask the computer to guess the number you pick. You will not say the number out. You are the only one that knows the number you pick in your mind. Then you click on this button for the computer to tell you the number you pick. So for instance, let's assume I pick from 1 to 8. The rule is that you must pick from 1 to 8. It can be from 1 to anything. We are just limited to that for this particular program. So let's assume from 1 to 8, 1 to 8. You can pick any number, and you will ask the application to tell you the number. So it will guess. If it's correct, congratulations to the application. If it's wrong, congratulations to you. So let's assume you have picked a number, and you press the button, it will tell you the number. So let's assume it tell you 4. So we want to have 4 here, right? So this is the basic application. So we just need to be clicking, make a guess, pick a number from our mind, click on the button to tell us the number, then it will tell us the number. So for us to build something like this, first thing you need to know, because this is where the programming stuff is, like understanding the logic. And once you understand the logic, it will be very easier for you to write the code. So the first thing here, we want to pick a number from 1 to 8. A number from 1 to 8. And in mathematics, if you want to pick something randomly, you will use probability, right? To pick something random. So if you want to pick random number from 1 to 8, if you choose any number, it will be any random number from 1 to 8. So to use random, you need a logic that can pick a number randomly from this 1 to 8. But before we can do that, we need to create an array. If you remember during the basic of JavaScript, we create an array, and this same thing, we will still use it here in this type of application. We create an array from 1 to 8. So from the list of array that we have from 1 to 8, we want a function that can pick a number from that list of array. That's the first thing. And the pick have to be randomly picked. So we need a function that can randomly pick a number. And if you want to do that in mathematics, that means you will use probability. And probability is always between 0 and 1. 0 and 1. That means probability will be a decimal number between 0 and 1. So it can be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. So we need a function that can randomly pick a random decimal number between 0 and 1. So it can be anything from 0 and 1. And once it picked that, we want to, the answer it will give us. For instance, let's assume it gave us 0.6. Now 0.6 is not among 1 to 8. For us to get the exact something that we are looking for, that means we need to multiply this 0.6 with the total number we have on our list, which is 8. So that is multiplied by 8. And it can be any number. Maybe the list is up to 100. That means it will be multiplied by 100, right? So we need a function. First of all, we need to list all our array, the list of options that we have. Secondly, we need a probability, something that we can pick a random number. That means we will use probability that will pick up anything from 0 to 1. And once you pick it, you need to multiply the results with the total length that we have here, which is 8. Then we need to also random it to a normal number. For instance, let's assume the answer is now, when we multiply this, let's assume the answer is now 5.2. 5.2. And there is no 5.2 between 1.8. They are all normal numbers. Either is 1, 2, 3, or 4. So definitely we need something that can also round up that 5.5 to normal number. So it will round it will remove the decimal number, it will round it up to 5. And it doesn't matter what the size of the decimal, even if it is 5.9, it will round it up to 5. If it is 5.2, it will round it up to 5. So those are things that we want to achieve. And also, we want to know when a user click on this button, read my mind. Once you click on this button, we want the application to know that you have clicked on it. And to do that, we need to add what we know as event listener. So if you add event listener to this button, it will know when somebody click on this button, and it will fire that function that will do the calculation and pick one number for you. So in recap, firstly, we have a list of numbers from 1 to 8. That's an array. Secondly, we need something a function that will pick randomly from that list, which is O, from 0 to 1. Then we need something that will round those figures to normal figure without decimal, then multiply it by the total number that we have on the list. So let's just see, that's just a logic of how it works. And that is very important in any programming language, like understand the logic. You can watch maybe video of how a particular code was written. But if you are not understanding the logic, why did they write it like that, you will not know web development or any programming language, even software engineering. You have to understand the logic, the algorithm. Even you might not even necessarily know how to write the code. First, you need to understand the logic and the algorithm that will make that application work exactly the way you work. And that's the simple logic behind this game application we want to develop that I just explained. But you know, we don't have much time here. We're already going to 2 hours. So let's quickly write the code and let's see that it's working. So we want to give it heading like title. So we can use H1. H1, we can say Amatip game app. Okay, that's the heading that we give it. Like the heading people will see when they go to the application. Then we want to have a button. And the button wants to, the label of the button, read me, or read my mind, That's the label of the button. Where's our browser? Let me put our browser side by side so that we can be seeing the result. Let's save. Save. Okay, let me open this. Okay, so Amatip, let me put IT here. Amatip IT, save. So this is the heading Amatip IT game application or mind. You can also say mind reading application. Sure. Then we have a button that we want to click that will give us the results. And also we want to be able to display the answer. So we can display the answer in paragraph. That's the function of that paragraph. Let me put space here so that you can see clearly. So yeah, these two things, the button and the paragraph, we want to go and write a code that will be working with them inside our JavaScript. So with that, we give it an ID, like an identification. So let's call this one button, like identification name, so that we can call on that name for our JavaScript. So this one, let's call this one, let's give this one ID answer. So that's that. We are done with the HTML, then we can write the JavaScript. We are almost done. In the next few minutes, we will complete this application. Then we can call it a day. So let's create the list. So the list, we can use cons, like the array, if you remember how to create the array, and let's call it possible number, possible number is equal to, then it's an array, we use this bracket, so we can now list all those numbers from 1, then 2, so it's supposed to be inside the quotes, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 6, and then 7, then 8, and the last one, 8. Okay, so that's the list of all possible numbers that somebody can pick from the rule of the game. Then the next thing, we need a function. So function, and let's call it app game or game app. You have know how to create, I've explained how to create a function before. So the basic structure of a function, this is it. So now we need, and store it in a const. Cons. We need, you can give the variable any name. You can say pick the pick number is equal to. Then now we have inbuilt function in JavaScript. So those inbuilt functions are functions that have already been created by JavaScript. So a sample of them is math. So anytime you are performing maths and something related to math, you will need math. And math have different property like floor. So see, this math floor is to round, when your number have decimal number, the math floor will remove the decimal number from it to round it up to normal number. That's why we use math floor. Then another math to select randomly. So this particular math will select randomly. So we say math, we call on property random. So this one we select, this another inbuilt function. It will select random number from that. Then once it select that random number, then we want to multiply the number with the total number that we have, the length of this possible number. So we can say possible number dot net. That dot net is like an operator to call on the property of that possible number. So we can say length. Okay. Then we can return. So now this first line, we store this becomes pick number. We only use this one to store whatever answer we got here inside this particular variable pick number. So the math floor, that is performing the function of round up the whatever result is it, which might be in decimal number, maybe something like 5.2, 5.7, to round it up to normal number without decimal. That's what math floor is doing for us. Math random is one that's picking a random number from this list of array that we have here. Then possible number length, you can see we have possible number here. So the length is the number of the list that we have here. So you know we can have up to 100 there. So, and we don't need to be count them to know how many is there, because we can, maybe you later delete one there. Do you need to come and change the number here? So you just need to put net, so it will calculate the number of any list that we have, all the lists that we have there. So now we want to return positive possible number. And so we now call on this one. That is, we want to replace everything that's inside this particular list. We want to replace it with any output that we got from this calculation, which is pick number. So we now put pick number here. Pick number. And that's it. So we have done with that function. So when we need that function, we just need to call on the function name. So that's that. The next thing we need to do is that you can see that we have two things here. The button that will be listening to, that we need to know. You can see when we are clicking this button, it's not performing any function for us at the moment, but we need it to be able to perform function. So, and we have given it the identity here, ID button, then ID answer. So we need to call on that. Since from HTML, we need to call them to our JavaScript. To do that, you can just say const, can store it inside a variable and say ID answer button is equal to, then you can say select so button gets element by ID, get element by ID, gets elements, I'm looking for something. Give me a minute. So now we can call on documents. And now I think we're supposed to see it here. Get element by ID. Yeah, it's here now. So put in quotes, then the name of this identity that you give to it, button, or you can even give it another name, maybe read mind button, mind. You can call it mind button. So this ID now, we copy it. The reason I copy it that you must make sure that the spelling is the same thing. If not, it will not work. So with that, we have linked that particular button to this JavaScript. Same thing, we can say const. For the answer, you can also call on answer. You know, you also have answer here. Inside our HTML, we have answer here, but we need to make the name a little bit different. Let's use here, add S to this button so that the name will not be conflict with each other. So the same thing, we do that same thing for answer. Answer, we add S so to separate the two answers from each other. Then documents, document.get ID by element. So you're getting the ID by element, the ID that we have, element by ID. So the same thing, we can copy it to avoid mistake, answer here. So put it inside here. So with that, you have stored the value inside these two variables. Okay, so that is it. Then the next stage, which is the last stage, is to print out the results. Okay. So now we can call on button. Let's say this button. And we can say the button. You can have another this button that we have here. You can call on it. And you know, when somebody click here, we want to able to know that somebody click here. So we can add event listener. So you can say add event listener, add event listener. And the type of event listener that you want to add is click, like when somebody click on that button. So that I've added event listener name. Then we want to create another function that will call on this function that we have about. You know, this is the function that is performing the calculation for us. So we want to call on this function, and you know that is another task. So we need a function that can perform that task for us. So we can create another function here. But here we don't need to add name for this function. So it can be a nominal function that is a function without name. So then curly brace. Now, so we want to call on that function, and we can store that function in variable before we call it. So let's store it inside a variable because we still need it later. So let's call it results. Let's call it results number. Result number. Okay. Then we can call on this function, the function that we got here, game. So game app. So that's it. Now we can print the result out by just document dot write. Yeah. Then we can put this, you know, we have stored this function that we have above. We have stored it inside this result number now. This, when anybody click on this, that's what we are doing here. That is, the button, we add event listener to it, which is click. So when somebody click on that button and the event listener will know that somebody click, then it will fire this function, this particular function, and store whatever the result inside this variable that we store here, results number. Then we can print that result number here. Results, where's it? It's capital letter R, results. So JavaScript is very sensitive, so you need to be aware of that. Result number. So now I think everything should be working fine if there's no any error in the code. Okay. Sure. Let's just straight up align. We got the array, we got the game function that is performing the sorting of the number for us. Then it pick possible number, then we store it back to the pick number. Then we connect the button here. Then we connect the answer as well. Okay. Then the button, we add a event listener with is clean them function. Yep. Then const results number. This game up. Then document writes short number. Okay, we don't need to. Okay. Let me check the console and see if there's any error at the console. Hard event reading. Click. Yeah. Answer. Let me check if our answer is correct inside HTML. The spelling should be correct. Mine button. Answer. Then game. Oh, bum, bum. So our defense. Probably the event reading, add event. So where's the error? So I think there's error somewhere. We need to check. Oh, sorry. I made a little mistake. So yeah, you need to be used to something like that when you are doing web development. So you just that's why you will see web developer celebrating when their program runs successfully, because what you are actually doing, you don't know what the results will be. So, and if you forgot anything, definitely your code will not work. So this answer, we have not passed the value that's in the result of that answer. We have not sent it out. So we don't need to, we are clicking now and the function is working, but we are not getting the result. That means we need to send the result back to the HTML. To send the result back to the HTML, so we can call on this variable answer, then test content. So this test content is telling us that this answer is a variable from our HTML. Then test content, we send the results that we get here back to the HTML to display the answer. Because if you check the HTML here, you can see that we did not put anything, we did not put any value between this paragraph, like we did not put anything there. So, but whatever we want to put there, we will send this from, we are sending it from JavaScript here, which is test content. So, and the test content will now be whatever the result we got here, so which is result number. So instead of document it out already. So that's just the little difference. So result number. So if I save now and check our application, I think it should work now. Let me remove answers, test content, results. I'm still not getting it out here. Is anything wrong? Game.js, yeah, it's linked. So probably, let me server. Yes, it's working now. So you just save and refresh. So you can see 3 now. Now, before we start testing, all of us start testing it together. Let's quickly write CSS for it. So you can see that the code is working now. Let's quickly write the CSS. So we can say body, so that we can round up the class. Body, then we can test align, center, to put everything at the center. We can give it upper margin, margin top. You can give it like 200 pieces, save to bring it to the center like that. Then what else can we give it? So let's also style the button, the button and padding. Padding, let's give it 10 pieces, 20 pieces. And let's give the background color. So I give it maybe green. Then color. I give it white. Then maybe font size. I give it 16 pieces. And that's it. So now you can think of any number in your mind. Anybody's going for chancing. Do you want to test the application? Pick a number and let me click the application. Let me click it for you and let's see if, do you want to pick it to your mind? Something I've already picked 7, so let's pick it. Yo, the application we got 4 as result. We got 4. Anybody going next? Anybody going next? Okay, I don't want to test the application. Why down is something you can pick another number. Let's give it another try. No, the number should be 1 from 1 to 8. We only have list of 8 there. 1 to 8. 1, okay. That's 2-0. Adam, what do you pick, Adam? Okay, you pick 4. So that's it. So you can continue playing the game like that. You can be playing the game with, like, maybe you want to go 10 rounds. You can continue pick any number and ask the computer to guess, and you can be counting the number, be 10, 20, and the likes. So that's your first portfolio as far as web developer is concerned. If you can follow that same process together, that means you can list this as part of your portfolio, because if for you to be able to develop something like this, definitely you will have acquired some basic understanding of what did you say, something? this seems like coding for Dash. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And you can apply it for, like, you can think and apply it in different ways. Like, you can use the knowledge to do different things that are so amazing. So if somebody is starting as a web developer and have this as first portfolio, you are a top-notch developer. So this is just the beginning. In our internship program, you will be diving more in depth into web development. We will go in depth of HTML, in depth of CSS, in depth of JavaScript, before we now start React for front-end development. Then we move to Node.js for back-end development. And so for you to understand those things, let me quickly show you some things, and let's call, before we call it a day. So let me open a project for you. This project is one of the projects from a company in the UK, but still our partner, so I can use it for illustration purpose. So that will be inside documents, CD. Okay. And then projects. So like this project now, if you can see inside this project, we have Pro server and Talk server backend. So we have front end here and the backend. So I can, let me see it to the Pro server. CD Pro server. Okay, so good. I open that. You open it and that. So you can see this is a very big project that contains thousand line of code. So this one is the front end. And let also, so I will launch this application so that you see one or two things, how the complete web application work together. So let me also see the back. See the Talk server backend. So that is the backend of the application. Okay, good. So this is Node.js for the backend. Let me put this one side. So if I want to run this application now, I'm already at the terminal, so I can just, let me clear everything. Okay, so if I want to start, this is the backend, and it was written in Node.js. You can see the database configuration, and we can even see the database. So the database will use MongoDB. So just want to show you the backend of the application. So you just have idea of the complete setup, so that we run the application and you see how all of them is working. Just a minute. I just want to authenticate the login. Okay. So while that is running, so let's launch the backend. So you can just launch it with npm start that for us to start a Node.js backend. So that will start the server for the backend. You can see the server is running at port 555 that's localhost, and the MongoDB is already connected. So we can also run the front end, the front end of the application written in React. So npm starts, that will start the front end. So like this application is a complex application, though it's still under development. So like now, somebody can fill a task now. So anything we fill now, you can see the database. Let me show you the database for this. So if you go to database, and you later understand more detail about all these things. So browse. So you can see inside the database, we have ID collection. You can see different. So I can use any of these details to log in. Let me find a user. So, okay, these are tasks. These are users. So this is the database schemas. And then just pick. So this is a login details that maybe I can use this one to log in. So I will not able to create the task. So let's assume I need a developer. Then probably let me just copy any message somewhere online so that instead of the typing notes, developer. Let me just copy this to use for now. Copy. So I can paste it here. So if the person wants to pay, you can make payments, can say amount to pay. So, and once someone submits this application, it is submit to the database, but cannot submit now because I need to log in. So if I want to log in, probably let me check a login detail from the database. Fortunately, I cannot see the password, but let me try a password. Okay, I think I got the password. So if we have there is different tasks people have been created. So all this, someone can go to job, can go to different applications. This just kind of project and from the admin, the dashboard, you can create a new task, you can chat with the admin reports, all those kinds of notifications, create a new task and the likes. And that MongoDB will be used to manage, was used to manage the database. So basically, with the knowledge of JavaScript, you can create the backend with Node.js and you can create the front end with React. Then you can use any database management system that you want, but mostly we'll be using MongoDB. So basically, that is our induction training to web development. So with this, at least you should have gained the understanding of what the field is all about. And if it is something that reckon with your needs, if it's something that you think you can actually give a try, so why not give it a try and get started? So the earlier, the better. So that's it. Thank you so much, Samson, for staying up to now. It's a very long class, but definitely by the time you start your job, you will be working longer than this as a web developer, writing code and lines, all those kinds of things. So that's it, and that's where we'll be stopping tonight. Thank you so much. So is there any question? Something you can unmute yourself. Have you joined any of the career path before? Hi, something. Okay, sorry. Let me check that. I think you should able to unmute yourself. Can you check like that? I don't know why it's not unmute. Okay, something you are unmute now. Hi, something. I can't hear you. It's like you are still muted, but I can see your message. Okay, can drop the message at the chat then. Okay, let me stop the recording for now. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. We really appreciate